Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening. 2 young sisters who died following a Hobart house fire on Sunday have been honoured with a touching memorial service in Rugby. Hundreds of family, friends and locals gathered last night to release balloons and birds into the sky and remember the lives that were cut so tragically short.
Pink balloons soaring into the sky for 2 little girls, a grieving family coming together to mourn their tragic loss.
That we miss our babies.
For only a few short years, 22-month-old Harlan and 5-year-old Jordan lit up the lives of those around them. The sisters remembered as cheeky and very cute.
Beautiful
cheeky.
Harlan, she was a little terror, like she would run around and the biggest smile.
A sea of pink lit up their memorial service, hundreds of close family and friends gathering at Rugby Primary School for the touching tribute.
I'm thankful for everyone that came here tonight.
Cars adorned with heartfelt messages and teddy bears for the siblings. 2 doves released into the sky as a family embraced.
I kept the other dove that didn't want to leave. It means one of my girls wanted to stay.
It's hard. Some moments are harder than others, but we've found little things to laugh about.
The girls were enjoying Jordan's 5th birthday party when a devastating fire tore through their Rugby home on Sunday morning. Baby Harlan was killed in the blaze. Jordan left clinging to life in hospital. She died 2 days later.
My girl should be here.
Authorities say the fire was a tragic accident. The cause is still under investigation. For now, the family is left to lean on the support of their tight-knit community as they honour the lives of 2 young girls who will forever be 1 and 5.
Love them very much. They will always be our little angels.
Rebecca Gadaneris, 7 Tasmanian News.
Labor is calling on the state government to stand by its commitment to build local LNG refuelling infrastructure for the new Spirit vessels in Devonport. The opposition says it's concerned the Liberals could back away from the plans, putting jobs and our clean energy reputation at risk.
The last thing we want to have is our new ships finally arriving in 2027 without adequate refuelling infrastructure. At this point in time, it looks like they'll need to use dirty old diesel instead of new LNG, which is what we were promised.
There's not a definitive answer at this stage. We're working through those issues and these matters will be resolved.
Former Infrastructure Minister Michael Ferguson first made the announcement in 2021 as part of the project's local content commitments. The Australia Day long weekend is almost upon us, and with that comes a renewed safety appeal from authorities. They're warning they'll be out in force over the coming days to ensure any celebrations are free from tragedy.
From the road to the ocean, the summer safety plea is in full force.
Whether you're travelling around Tasmania, relaxing by the water or enjoying a bushwalk, that safety is paramount.
Exercise safety over speed to ensure that they reach their destination safely.
As thousands prepare to hit the road, police are putting drivers on notice.
Police on the roads will be focusing on the Fatal 5. We'll be doing both high visibility and covert policing out on major roads and the rural and back roads.
Those towing extra cargo are also in their sights, urged to go through all the checks and balances before the journey begins.
It's not only ensuring that you know the limitations of your vehicle and the load that you're carrying, but ensuring that you're performing the correct checks.
Revellers are being told to make the most of the holiday fun, but make it a safe party.
Make sure you do so responsibly and that you think forward about your plan of how you're going to get home safely that night.
After a near miss at Blackman's Bay Beach yesterday, where a group of children had to be plucked from a rip, and with more people expected to flock to beaches, swimmers are also being warned.
Always swim where it's safe and where there's lifeguards. If you've been drinking or under the influence, don't get in the water.
It isn't much of a beach day today, but the good news is the cool change won't last long, with warmer weather returning just in time for the long weekend.
Enjoy that weather, but make sure we do it safely.
Victoria Risto, 7 Tasmania News.
Senior nursing positions at the Launceston General Hospital are continuing to go unfilled, according to the Nurses Union. The ANMF took to social media this morning to declare an unofficial code yellow over staffing shortages. It comes as nurses at the Northwest Regional return to the Industrial Commission, with their calls for additional staffing going unanswered despite being told otherwise.
There was agreement to uplift the number of nursing staff to safely staff the theatres based on the activity and the number of theatres that were open.
The Health Department has reportedly advised hospital management that budget constraints are preventing the recruitment of more nurses. The government says it's committed to building a workforce that meets the needs of Tasmanians. The state government is taking aim at Canberra over a plan it says undermines a major Tasmanian industry and puts jobs at risk. Under the proposed scheme, states could generate carbon credits for excluding native forests from logging operations.
A lone voice of protest.
They only just get burnt when they do the burning afterwards. It's all clear felling by another name.
At the site of a forest harvested more than 40 years ago. Burned and then re-sown.
This is what regrowth forestry is all about.
Standing by Tasmania's forestry industry, the state government urging Canberra to cut down a scheme proposed by New South Wales that could see states generate carbon credits by locking up native forests from logging.
This is bad news for our state. It is bad news for our economy.
We believe the science behind it is rubbish.
Senior Liberals claiming excluding production forests from logging would cause more carbon emissions in the long term.
If you allow it to continue to grow and then die, it becomes a carbon emitting piece of timber.
Upset Tasmania was left out of consultation. The Australian Forest Products Association warning the initiative would spell the end of the native forestry industry across the country, leaving Australians to rely on imports.
The idea that we can close down an industry here and would prefer to get timber from North America, the Amazon or the jungles of Borneo is absolutely perverse.
Trees being ripped out of the Congo Basin so people can buy their deck chairs at Bunnings.
Those against the move say alternatives like plantations can't currently be used for more substantial builds, making native forests the best option for construction.
We're unable to reproduce plantations that are 80 years old in anything other than the natural setting.
In a statement, the federal government says it's not changing policy around native forestry and that it supports the communities that rely on the industry. The state opposition has also ruled out using the scheme.
You've got a forest industry here in Tasmania which is environmentally sustainable, which has best practice forest techniques.
Tom Crosby, 7 Tasmania News.
As hurricanes fever heats up, Hobart City Council is preparing to provide the opportunity for fans to get up close and personal with some of the players ahead of Monday's BBL decider.
To connect with the mascots and the players, come and show your support, grab some of the merchandise, have some face painting.
The whole state's embraced the hurricanes and the journey we're on. A force of nature is a tagline that we've been putting out there now for 12 months and this is just the icing on the cake.
For those who didn't snap up tickets to the big game, still have the chance, with more going on sale at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's been dubbed one of the most significant projects in modern maritime history, and it's being constructed right here in our state. 7 Tasmania News has been given an exclusive look at the world's largest electric ferry before it sets sail for South America later this year.
130 metres long, 90% of it built using lightweight aluminium and powered by 250 tonnes of batteries.
It'll run entirely off battery power, so a zero emission ship, which is just huge in terms of the future of sustainable shipping.
Soon to be the world's largest electric ferry, featuring the biggest duty-free retail shopping space of any ferry ever, spanning about the same size as all 5 levels of Launceston's Maya.
I've been here for 29 years nearly, and I never thought. I thought they might go gas, they done one or maybe 2, but battery, didn't ever think.
Large vessels primarily operate on diesel, which incidentally was the plan for this one, until the pandemic forced builders in CAT to take a more sustainable approach. But that means long journeys could present a challenge.
We lose a bit of the range, so this one will operate on a short route between Argentina and Uruguay. and we'll get about 60 to 90 minutes runtime under a full charge of battery.
Once the final touches on the hull 096 have been completed, this dock will be flooded with water. The vessel then sends straight into the River Derwent, the public able to view it from the Bowen Bridge from later this year.
We'll also have some public open days so people can come and see the ship for themselves.
Tasmanians forced to stick to riding on the Derwent ferry service for the time being. The vessel making its maiden voyage to its new home in South America at the end of this year.
Super exciting, like just a battery-powered boat. How good's that?
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmanian News.
Preparations are underway for this year's annual Sandy Bay Regatta. Crowds will take to the water in a variety of activities from sailing, kayaking, rowing and paddleboarding.
We're expecting 5,000 to 6,000 will pass through the site at least during the day.
Adding to the day's importance, 79 people from 28 different countries will also become Australian citizens at the event.
Create that unity of what it means to be Australian and be part of that Australian community.
This year will mark 177 years of the maritime tradition. Open water swimmer Murph Renford will soon embark on a 34-kilometre challenge swimming Hobart's River Derwent. As well as raising money for charity, the swim also an ode to his father, who shared his passion and love for the water.
From swimming around Manhattan Island to crossing the English Channel, marathon swimmer Murph doesn't seem to shy away from a challenge.
Once I focus on something, it becomes not an obsession, but I want it done right, and I'll do everything that I need to do to make sure that I can be successful.
Early on Saturday morning, Murph will attempt the Derwent Big River Swim, entering the water at New Norfolk Bridge, then swimming around 4 kilometres per hour until he's covered 34 k's, ending the marathon under the Tasman Bridge.
If I do my piece and she's kind to me, I think there could be a 7 in front of it, is in hours, but if she's gets a little bit cranky with me and wants to make me work for it, then there could be an 8.
The water's quite cold, you know, you're on your own.
The experienced swimmer relying heavily on his support crew, taking tips and tricks from those who have done it before.
And there are a lot of factors along the way to consider as well. Water conditions, how you're feeling, feeding, everything.
The grit and grind running in Murph's blood. His father, Des Renford, a legendary marathon swimmer who swam the English Channel 19 times and was the first to partake in the Derwent Big River Swim 50 years ago.
I've always enjoyed keeping Dad's memory alive.
All Australians have heard of Des Renford. He was a hero during the 70s and 80s. He was a showman, a bit like Murph.
Raising money for the Rainbow Club, an organisation that offers swim clubs for children with disabilities.
Murph's shown that he's got the mental capacity to do this, and I've got no doubts that he will.
You prepare for the worst, you hope for the best. I'll do whatever it takes, but geez, I'd like to get a, you know, the quicker the better.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmanian News. The Hobart Hurricanes coach says connection amongst the team has been vital in their campaign for the first ever BBL title. Tim David and Mitch Owen both with standout performances this season, but the coach says he's pleased with the even spread of contribution from all players.
Whilst we've had some incredibly impressive individual performances, we've not solely been reliant on one player in matches.
The Canes will play either the Sydney Sixers or the Sydney Thunder in the decider, depending on who wins tomorrow night. The Jack Jumpers say they're remaining optimistic about Majuk Deng returning from injury if the team progresses deep into the NBL finals. Earlier this month, the big man was forced to the sidelines after injuring his ankle at training. The star has spent the last 2 days partaking in light sessions and will be reassessed in about a week's time. There are 4 more games left before finals for the Ants, who face South East Melbourne on Saturday.
Good evening. Hobart a bit below the January average of 17 today. Launceston a top of 20. Devonport and Burnie reached 19 degrees. Temperatures generally between 2 and 6 below average. Flinders Island our top with 22. Friendly Beach is 20. Low Head and St Helens 19. King Island, Bushy Park and Strawn 18. Lyowini a top of 12. Cloudy today, as we know. A trough troubled the northwest of the state where Gawler River received 10 millimetres of rain to 4 p.m. The cloud over us also reaches further north over Victoria and New South Wales. Cloud from the ex-tropical cyclone is off southern WA. More cloud over the tropics and eastern Queensland. Tomorrow, the ex-cyclone is now a low pressure zone. A high over the Bight extends a ridge our way. The trough continues over the North Island. Winds west-northwesterly up to 30 knots over the west and south, lighter over the east and inland waters. We do have a strong wind warning for 2 lots of waters from Stanley to St Helens Point and also from Tasman Island to Sandy Cape. Hobart tomorrow, 21 and partly cloudy. Same for Huonville, a shower thrown in as well. Campania, partly cloudy and 22 degrees. Launceston, a possible early shower, 40% chance, 24 the maximum later. 22 for Devonport, early shower for Georgetown, 21 the maximum. Burnie expecting 21, partly cloudy, showery for Strawn, 22 the maximum for Wynyard. St Helens tomorrow, a high of 24 degrees and partly cloudy. Shower possible for Swansea, 25 the maximum and 21 for Port Arthur. Now for the weekend, a cloudy day on Saturday, a shower over the west, a possible shower for the east on Sunday, partly cloudy for the rest of the state, and on Monday showers developing over the west around midday, extending to central and southern districts in the afternoon. Warm and sunny in Perth tomorrow. 28 the top in Adelaide. An early shower forecast for Melbourne ahead of 23 degrees. Showers easing from Sydney, partly cloudy and 37 in Brisbane. And it's currently 17 in Hobart, 18 right now in Launceston, a few showers over Devonport and currently 17 degrees. I guess at this point, Louise, we better give a shout out to the leader of your hairdressing team who's out of action at the moment due to a bout of COVID. We're all hoping for his speedy recovery.
That we certainly are. Please get well soon, Benny. Thank you for that. That's all your news for now. I'll be back later on with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.